we're going to go ahead and download the Keysight IO libraries. If you use this link here, you type keysight.com/find IOlib. That's like a shortcut on our website that we often use. Our AEs often use that. You can use that too. I'm going to click on it because I have it on the document. And we're going to allow that. We're going to go ahead to keysight.com. It's going to take us to the IO libraries page. This is a free tool, okay? So you can download this now, so you go here and get the link. So what IO libraries does is it has a handful of tools in there. We'll take a look at it in more depth, but we require this tool, so we need to install that on the laptop or the computer that you're going to be controlling the instruments from. So that, again, install this on the laptop or your test laptop that you're going to be writing your software on, okay? So I'm going to go download here. So this is typical of all of our software downloads. Just go download here. I'm going to click on here. We can go ahead, and I'm going to skip ahead through some of this so you don't have to watch it. You can put in your email address, Tim_, and okay, then you can put that in there and you say download. You'll have another one to install. I'm going to save this. I generally save them. If you're working with partners or other people, you may just want to download it once. It is a little bit of a download, a big download, but anyway, this is what we need to do first. We've downloaded it. I've already installed it, so I didn't go through that part of the process. But it's here. So where do we find it? That's the next thing. So I'm going to go here, and we're looking for this Keysight IO library suites. It's a little circle with an IO on it. And you click on that and Connection Expert. Now this will pop up. The version I have on here, I've installed as of November. There's going to be a new version that will look slightly different, but it'll have all the same functionality. And what I see here is instruments that are on my system. I can rescan and look for instruments on the system right now, and it'll find them if they are there. So we'll use this a little bit later. There are other tools in here. We can do manual configuration and look for IP addresses, things like that. Now this tool is really required for programming because that's kind of the back-end communication that goes on. But if you choose, you don't even have to use the tool to find the address. You can actually go straight to the instrument and get the address from there. So there's a couple of ways to go about it. We'll look at those ways in the next portion of the video after I install the other software. Now we're going to download Command Expert. Again, we go keysight.com, find, and Command Expert. That's our quick shortcut to find Command Expert. So I'll show you where you should be when you're downloading it. This is it right here. So when you want to download it, there's version 1.6 is the present version. Now you'll be watching this in the future and probably there'll be a higher version, but it is a free tool. It's an amazing tool actually that will get you going quickly. So we can go and download that. I've already downloaded it, so we'll look at it. Easiest way to get there I find is go to the start menu and go Command Expert. We want to verify it did install properly. It should come up. And we'll go through it in much more detail. I'm going to start that up. It pops up, and this is what you should see. If it is installed correctly, it should pop up like that when you execute it, okay? We're not going to do anything with it right now because we're going to go into installing Anaconda. So this will be the next portion of the video. And we'll go through that installation. And once we've done that, let's see, yeah, and then you can install PyVisa and a couple of tools, and then we'll look at some of the other tool features that we need to complete our task. In this section, we're going to do the installation of Anaconda, which is a distribution of Python. So to get there, Keysight Command Expert, one key thing before we download anything is Command Expert supports 32-bit versions of Python, and we're going to be installing Python 2.7. Out there is a Python 3. I don't know if it's 3.3 or whatever it is, but even in the general communities out there for instrumentation, there are a lot of changes to 3.3. So anybody that's doing instrumentation these days is definitely using Python 2.7. Okay, so we're going to connect this, going to connect. Okay, so you should be getting to the site. Anaconda is a open data science platform powered by Python. So it's a distribution that's more geared towards science. So you can do lots of analysis in this tool, and there's lots of packages. We're going to go with the Python 2.7, and I'm using a 64-bit operating system, but we need to use the 32-bit installer. So I'm going to stick with the 32-bit to be safe. So that's the one we're going to load. It's 324 megs. Getting started with the Anaconda cheat sheet. I don't need to do that. I'm going to go save this off. Obviously this download is going to take a while. So when you finally download, you will notice that you have Anaconda Windows EXE. That's the executable. You can double click that and it will go through this installation. Now I've already installed the package, so I'm not going to reinstall it, but it'll go through the process. It takes a few minutes to install everything. There's a large number of files in the repository. So I'm going to quit my setup, but you would go ahead and do that. Once you're done, okay, so you go into, click on the Windows Start menu, and you go down to Anaconda 32-bit, and within here we're going to follow through the stages. Let's scroll up. We want to verify everything's there, so we've done that. It's going to look a little bit different from this. This is an older version, but we want to get the command prompt, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go All Programs, Anaconda 32-bit, and the command prompt. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get a list. So to view the installed packages right here, we want to type conda list at the command prompt. Okay, so let's go and do that. I'm going to type conda list. Okay, now you can scroll up and down. You can see if PyVisa is there. Now on mine I've already installed it, but we've got PyVisa, and there's a python.net somewhere in there, which, there it is, python.net. So those two things are going to install. Now I've already done that, but if you haven't, if you don't see those listed, which you won't on a new install, you want to come in here and you want to type pip install PyVisa. And I'm going to click it. It's probably going to tell me requirement already satisfied. So for me, my message is that, but for you, it'll put a little something else in there saying that it did install successfully. Hopefully, and usually that's what happens. The next is install python.net. So pip install, the one comment they have down below here is you have to have pip install -- pre python.net. So that means you have to put two minus signs. So pip install -- so with like two minus signs pre python.net, and let's do it. It's always saying requirement already satisfied. You can do -- upgrade, whatever, but that's a key thing. You can also just copy and paste it in. You can right click and drop it in there if you want. That's your choice. Now that is it for installing Python, and what I'll do is show you just a little tiny bit. You're going to be using, once we do start to do the Python portion of the programming, we're going to use the IDE called Spider. Okay, Spider is a integrated development environment that has debug tools. It allows you to see your program windows. You can have multiple programs open at the same time. So when you run that, we will be using Spider. There's tons of things you can do with it. Just waiting for it to start up. Oh, I've already had it started, so there it is. So as you see here, we've got our code on this window. You can save the files there. There's ways to step through and debug. And you have a command interpreting window. So Python is an interpreted language. As you type the code, it gets loaded in and runs, as opposed to something like C, C#, where you have to pre-compile everything and then run the executable. This just executes as you go. So in this example, I could say x equals 7, and if I type x, it'll tell me the value of 7, y equals 15, and then we can say print x plus y is 22. So as it interprets each line, it actually executes the code one line at a time. It's a little slower than something like C or C#, but it has some flexibility as well. Okay, so that's it. We're going to go into, that's a basic sanity check to make sure things are working. Okay, so we're going to get to the exciting part. We're actually going to write some instrument control. We're going to get the addresses. We're going to try to talk to the instrument. Then we're going to write a few lines of code, execute it, and then we're going to go and drop it into Python and make fully wrap it and use it from within Python itself, and then you'll start to see the power of using the instruments.